my angels, it's Hailey Reese, and today's video has to be one of the most exciting videos I've ever filmed. This is probably one of the things that I have been most excited to ever bring on my channel, and I will just let you guys know right here, right now, the title of today's video is absolutely in no way, shape, or form clickbait, and what you guys are about to see, all thanks to Warner Brothers, is incredible. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you guys would have seen that Warner Brothers flew me out to Connecticut to watch the exclusive screening of Annabelle Comes Home and to get to go on the full Annabelle adventure that they had planned for us all day. And one of the things that Warner Brothers had up their sleeves was bringing us to the Warren Occult Museum and allowing us to actually meet the real-life Annabelle that inspired the films. Annabelle Comes Home releases to theaters on June 26th, and let me just tell you guys, you do not want to miss seeing this film. I know you guys, and I absolutely know that you guys are going to enjoy Annabelle Comes Home. So down in my description, I have a ticket link where you guys are able to purchase your tickets to go and see Annabelle Comes Home in theaters, and trust me, you guys are gonna love it. Thank you so much, Warner Brothers, for this entire experience. I am so appreciative that you guys selected me to be amongst the few who were able to have this experience. And without further ado, you guys, I'm gonna walk you through my experience. Believe me when I say there is more footage than I think you guys thought you were going to get. So let's get into today's video. So like I said, first and foremost, Warner Brothers actually flew us out to Connecticut to have this entire Annabelle Comes Home experience. And the very first thing that we did was actually go to an exclusive screening of Annabelle Comes Home. And the coolest part was that we actually got to watch the exclusive screening with Ed and Lorraine Warren's daughter, Judy Warren, and her husband, Tony, which was such a phenomenal experience, but most importantly, to me especially, it was a complete honor. So I'm gonna roll the footage of us heading to go to the theaters to see the film and let you guys get a little peek on that. Today I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. I've been like a little kid on Christmas morning today because Warner Brothers has flown me out to Connecticut to watch the screening of Annabelle and have the whole Annabelle experience. I am so excited. You guys know how much I absolutely love and adore Ed and Lorraine Warren and how devastated I was over the recent passing of Lorraine Warren. So to be able to come out to Connecticut and experience all that they were is so amazing. So thank you so much, Warner Brothers. I am so excited for what we have in store for today, but I gotta get downstairs right now because we are about to head to the screening of Annabelle Comes Home, and I'm so excited. Let's get today started. You guys, we just got onto our shuttle. We are heading to go to the screening of Annabelle Comes Home. I am like so excited, but I have someone extra special that I want to show you guys because we're actually hanging out today and you guys might not be expecting. So if you know, comment quickly, but it's Brittany. We're here, you guys. So excited, guys. So obviously we weren't able to film any bit of the film, which I was not expecting to. You guys will have to go and check it out yourself. But I have to let you guys know that I thoroughly enjoyed Annabelle Comes Home. I personally felt as though it was better than the first one. It's thrilling, and it has to do with the Warrens Occult Museum and all of the artifacts in it. So I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but you gotta trust me as somebody who really appreciates a good horror film. Annabelle Comes Home was amazing. And like I said, there are ticket links down in the description. So the next things that we went on to do, I accumulated so much footage of, and Tony was actually sharing so many personal stories of Ed and Lorraine Warrens, and I know that you guys love Ed and Lorraine Warren just as much as I do. So I actually decided to make this a two-part video, even though I initially wasn't going to. So you guys are gonna see a ton more footage in a video following this one, but I really wanted to focus on this one, what you guys have been begging me to talk about and share with you guys ever since you saw on Instagram that I visited the Occult Museum, and that is the Warren Occult Museum and meeting Annabelle. For those of you who don't know, the Warren Occult Museum is where Ed and Lorraine Warren would put haunted or demonic items that needed to be kept and blessed and contained by them because they knew how to handle these objects and these items. And a lot of these items I've actually covered here on my channel, which just makes the footage that I'm about to share with you guys all the more fascinating and all the more interesting. In the following footage, you guys are gonna hear Tony, who, like I mentioned to you guys, is Ed and Lorraine Warren's son-in-law, who is taking care of the Artifact Museum, as I mentioned in my video on the lives of Ed and Lorraine Warren, explain about the Doll of Shadows, also explain about an item that I wasn't aware of from the Devil Made Me Do It case, which we covered here on my channel as well, and kind of share with us the backstory on a lot of these items. And at the very end of this clip, you guys are gonna hear him talk about Annabelle and retell the Annabelle story with her standing right behind him. This is a little bit of a lengthy clip, but I wanted to include everything because I feel like you guys are so going to appreciate learning about all of these items. I can't even tell you, like, I was like a kid on Christmas morning just getting to be there and experience all the things that I've researched for so long. But before heading into the Warrens Occult Museum, a portion that I really wanted to vlog and share with you guys was how they took proper precautions to ensure that everybody who entered into the Warren Occult Museum had a positive experience and wasn't affected by the items. And that was, they had us blessed. So I'm actually gonna roll the clip first of us being blessed, and then I'm gonna get right on into inside of the Warrens Occult Museum.
There's one thing I want to say before you guys go inside and before I do a blessing. I will be anointing your head with the cross, so if you don't want that, please let me know. It's preferred. Before you guys also go into this location, remember, it is laws of attention, laws of attraction. Go on there with a respectful mind, power of God, your aura, like Tony had talked about, and just think of white, pure light, because you don't want to go there with the wrong intention and the wrong attraction. You never know what you're messing with. Alright, guys? So I'm going to say 2 prayers and then I'm going to anoint your forehead. We ask that the light of God's presence to surround us as a shield. We ask the blood of Jesus to cover us and defend us against the attacks of all evil spirits. We ask the holy angels to be with us and join us in our battle against the power of darkness. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of my womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Excuse me.
Most of these objects that you see in here are unholy objects. They're unblessed. Even though we have a priest come in monthly to bless these objects, they still can be dangerous. Depends on how effective the blessings were or are. So let's start out with perhaps one of the scarier looking objects. This is the shadow doll. Now, by looking at this object, you would say, why would anybody want an object like that? Well, I wonder myself. But the thing is, it's made with bird feathers, human tooth, animal bone. And must be paper mache to put it together. But it's an ugly looking object. And it's made for that intention, is to scare and to curse. It's made to curse other people. You can look at it all you want. You can take pictures of it all you want, because you don't know anything about the curse that goes with it, how to instill that curse. You have to be very knowledgeable. That's intentionally made to curse other people. It's similar to a voodoo doll, which we also have in here. This here is a New England witch doll. And they also call it Mayariah witchcraft. And what it is, if I take this off here, all it is like a piece of wood that someone would use. For instance, that you sit at a table, I might take a piece of the wooden table or the chair that you use all the time and incorporate it into this hanging noose. Then I would make a close I can replica of the doll of you, the person I want to curse. Then I would take a piece of pork, fresh pork, and place it around the neck here. And then I would take this whole thing and hang it close to your bedroom window, say on a bush or on a tree. And as the pork rotted, you would become sicker and sicker, with the ultimate goal of you dying. That's what curses are about, to hurt other people. So this is Mayariah magic, or New England witchcraft doll. Over here, let me just go this way a little bit. Over here we have a simple looking plastic prehistoric monster, right? This creature was in a famous case that Ed and Lorraine investigated back in 1980 called the Devil in Connecticut case, or the Devil Made Me Do It case. And what that case was a young boy by the name of David Galazzo from Brookfield, Connecticut, was possessed by a diabolical entity. And this thing that he made himself, he glued it all together. And as he put it down on the floor one day, and the Warrens saw this, Ed and Lorraine both, it glided across the carpet, and a voice came from around it and said, "You are all going to die." It's a very famous case. You could read it. You could probably find the book on eBay called The Devil in Connecticut by Gerald Brittle. But it's as told to the Warrens, as the Warrens told it to Gerald Brittle. The entire story of Arnie Johnson and David Galazzo. And what happened ultimately and ended in a murder of a young man by Arnie Johnson. And the claim was that the devil made him do it. The devil went into him and made him do it. Very famous case. This one here, this is a satanic idol. It's a ritualistic object that was found in the woods in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Now, about 1990, this happened, where a young deer hunter was walking through the woods in Sandy Hook. He had a bow and arrow. He's about 22 years old. He's about your age. You're about 22, right?
23.
See? I'm good at ages. See?
You are.
I'm good with ages and weights. I can tell somebody's weight within 5 pounds.
Let's stick to ages.
I don't think I'm going to say your weight, okay? Even though it's thin. So this is the idol. But the statue is sitting in the woods. This young deer hunter is looking for deer with a bow and arrow. All of a sudden he comes upon this grotto of rocks, a round stone gravel grotto with rocks built up, just in the center. So it was sitting like that high. He comes upon it, he's lost. Now he looks and he sees it. And he instantly becomes perturbed and disturbed by this thing. He sits down in front of it, exhausted. He says to himself, "What is this thing? I don't know what this thing is, but it's bad. I don't like it." So what did he do? He stands up, he starts to walk away as quickly as he can, away from it. As he's walking down the pathway, lost, hoping to find his way out to his car in the street, somebody appears next to him out of nowhere. I'm talking about the dead of summer, dead quiet. All of a sudden, there's nobody there. All of a sudden, there's a guy standing right next to him, walking step for step with him, step for step like a soldier. And he was dressed all in black from head to toe. He had a snow white, short cropped beard and snow white hair going back. And he's about 70 years old. The man never spoke, never looked at this young man. Now the kid's freaked out when he sees this guy walking with him. He doesn't know what to do. Finally, he musters up the courage. He looks at the guy and he says, "How do I get out of here? How do I leave here?" And the guy never spoke. The guy never looked at him. He just pointed. He was walking like this. He pointed to the right and then stepped off to the right. And this guy, now he starts to pick up his pace. And he finds his car. He rushes home, calls his friends. And he describes what happened. They said, "Why don't you call Ed Warren? He knows about this stuff. He lives right down in Monroe, next town over." He calls up Ed, as was listed in the phone book. Calls up Ed, and Ed says, "You think that you could find this statue again?" The kid says, "Yeah, I think I can show it to you. Meet me on this road here." So Ed went with Lorraine and met this guy on the roadway. They walked in. Sure enough, they found it. And Ed looked at it, took one look, and he said, "I know exactly what you're looking at, son. That's nothing that should be in the woods. That's a satanic worship idol. And the guy that you just described to me, he's a high priest in a satanic cult. This doesn't belong in the woods." And Ed took it, put it in the back seat of his car with Lorraine, and drove it back home and put it here. Now, you think that was the end of the story, right? Nothing happened, but something did happen. For about 2 days, Ed had it sitting right here. For about 2 days, nothing happened. And on the third day, Ed was outside trying to fix the wipers on his car, trying to replace them. He looks back about 25 feet. He sees Lorraine. She's watering some flowers with a hose. And Lorraine was the kind of person that every time she saw Ed, she'd say, "Hi, honey." She'd look at him, she goes, "Hi, honey, hi," like that. So he says hi. He goes back to his wipers. And he looks back up not even a minute later, he looks back up and he sees her lying on the ground in a fetal position, semi-conscious. He drops everything. He runs like a gazelle, gets to it. He says, Lorraine, wake up, what's the matter? She doesn't answer. He calls an ambulance and the police department. They came out within about 3 minutes. They put her in the ambulance. She's still incoherent. Gets her to St. Vincent's Hospital. For 3 days, she was in and out of consciousness. The doctors did brain scans, MRIs, you name it, they did it. Ed says, what's the matter with my wife? They said, you know something, Mr. Warren? We don't know. We can't find anything abnormal. But I went to see her on the next day that she was there, and she was incoherent. She couldn't answer questions. She couldn't even say hi to me. It was like somebody hit her with a club inside of her head, and she had the flu. But on the third day, miraculously, she snapped right out of it. Now, when I say snap right out of it, she was perfectly normal. And the doctor said, well, you can go home. And she did. She went home that evening. About 2 or 3 days later, I remember walking through the museum, and I visited Lorraine, and she was fine. I said, Ed, can we go out to the museum and look around again? So we went to the museum, and I said, hey, Ed, did you ever find out what happened to Lorraine? What the story was? Or what did the doctors say? What happened? He said, they never told me. They told me that they couldn't find anything wrong. He said, but I know what happened. I said, well, what happened? He goes, and he said, that GD son of a gun, he did that to my wife. I go, who? He goes, that high priest. He goes, when he described that guy to me, I knew exactly who he was. His name is, and he gave me the guy's name. It was a German name, and the guy was German. He said, he's a high priest in a satanic cult, and he's very, very powerful. And he was ticked off that I took his idol out of the woods. So as a warning to me, he did that to Lorraine as a warning to show me the power he had. And I said, you sure about that? He goes, I know it. I just know the guy that well. He goes, we respect each other. He's on the negative side, I'm on the positive side. I'm for good, he's for bad, but we kind of cancel each other out with our powers. He didn't mess with me, but he messed with my wife as a warning. So that's the story of the satanic idol. A necklace, a regular pearl, a small little pearl necklace that almost any woman would wear. But this is a little funny one. This is called the Pearls of Death. And a lady put these on. She put these on. Somebody put the clasp on behind her. As soon as she put them on, it felt like somebody took the pearls and twisted them and started to strangle her to death. She started to choke, and her tongue came out. Her tongue was hanging. They had to yank them off and break them off. Were they cursed? Yeah, they were cursed all right. So something was happening with these. Over here is a conjuring mirror. It wasn't from The Conjuring. This is called a conjuring mirror. Why is it called a conjuring mirror? Because a gentleman from New Jersey tried to conjure spirits with it. What he would do is he would black out his whole bedroom. You could do the same thing. It's called a psychomanthium. You could look that up, psychomanthium. It was made famous by Dr. Raymond Moody. But what you do is you black out the room totally, so you cannot even see your hand in front of your face. You hang a mirror up. It could be any size mirror, but this is just a regular mirror. Then he would put a chair about 3 feet away. And then about 2 feet behind the chair, he would put a little red bulb like this. Maybe a 15-watt bulb, so you could just about see the mirror. And then he would begin his ritualistic conjuring. And it's a very simple process what he did. All he would do is beckon spirits that he knew that had died, like his grandmother, his grandfather, his uncle. He was saying, Grandpa, I miss you so much. Can't you just show yourself to me? Can't you just show yourself to me? He was kind of dingy, this guy. He did it for 3 hours a day for about 2 weeks. Nothing happened. But after that second week, he started to have monstrosities appear on the mirror. Monstrosity faces would appear on the mirror, which actually drove this guy kind of crazy. He actually ended up being treated at a mental hospital. What that is called crystalmancy. Crystalmancy, where a spirit finds it very, very easy to materialize on a shiny object, such as a plate glass window, such as a bumper of a car, a TV set that's not on, or a mirror. So it's nothing that I advocate you trying, because you could actually get something that you never can get rid of. You open that door of the unknown, and it's very, very difficult to close the door. Now this object here, what is this, huh? This is the Annabelle. This is the real deal. Now, in the movie, it was pretty darn close as far as what they did. Of course, the doll looked different because James Wan likes scary puppets. If you go on James Wan's Twitter page, it's hashtag creepy puppet. He loves creepy puppets. And he didn't want to have a problem with the trademark and the manufacturer of the Raggedy Ann doll, so he did it differently. But other than that, Ed put this devil sign here back in 78, 79. He put it here. And Ed hand wrote this, and they duplicated it in the movie. He hand wrote warning, positively do not open. Now Dan, who's standing right here, is my lead investigator, made this case special so if we had to transport the doll anywhere, we could do it safely. So tell him, Dan, what you did to build this case.
So this case is built by hand, everything on here. The stain that's used on this case, I use holy water, and I put it in the stain.
Holy water used.
Blessed holy water. And you see 3 crosses, one on top, on each side.
On each side is a cross.
This is the sign of the Trinity. It's Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. On each side, I put a plaque of St. Michael on each side of the case.
The Archangel.
Inside the case, underneath the felt, I scribed the Lord's Prayer, plus the St. Michael prayer underneath the felt there. That all helps bind Annabelle to the case. So what we did is, Annabelle used to be in the original case that Ed had built over there. What I did over here was just mimic Ed's case, but put a little bit more to it to bind the doll.
Behind the felt, what do you got?
St. Michael prayer and the Lord's Prayer.
Written there, right in the felt as an extra protection.
Right.
So, and then we have a priest come and bless the case. He uses holy oil and everything else on the case. That is to help bind the spirit inside this case. You know, people say, well, why don't you just get rid of the doll? Well, if we did, we're just getting rid of the vessel, not the evil within. You know, it's not the way to do it. You're just allowing evil to roam the world then. At least we have it captive here, at least we think we do. We're to keep it here. The story of the doll, real quick. 1970, 2 nurses from Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. One of the nurses, Donna, received the doll as a gift from her mom because Donna liked dolls. She grew up liking dolls. Her mother gave her one. Donna was about 28. She gave her the doll, and Donna loved the doll. Put a little bracelet on her hand, in fact. And she used to treat it like a person almost. She used to bring it to the breakfast nook and talk to it while she was having her orange juice and her eggs. And then one morning, as she's talking to it and looking at the doll's 2 arms levitated onto the table and landed on a table just like this. And now Donna is like, what's going on? And the other nurse, who was the co-worker, roommate, said, you know what? The doll's trying to tell us something. I know a psychic. Why don't we go have a seance tonight and have the psychic come over and find out what she wants to tell us? And they did. That evening, they had a psychic come, friend. And the psychic got to the house and they had a little seance. The psychic went into a trance. And during the trance, she says, I'm picking up the spirit of a young child who was killed outside this apartment complex in a motor vehicle accident. Her name was Annabelle, and she's about 6 or 7 years old. She's inside your doll. That's what she told the nurses. That wasn't true, but the nurses bought it, hook, line, and sinker. It wasn't true because God would not allow a human spirit like that to enter into inanimate objects like that. That's not how the universe works. He wouldn't allow it. But they bought it. So they really treated the doll like she was special. One day, she comes home from work and finds the doll is not on the couch like she left it. Now it's in the bed. The next day she comes back. She purposely left the legs uncrossed. Comes back, the legs are crossed. One day she came home and found a piece of parchment paper underneath the bed, written in crayon. It said, help me. They didn't have any parchment paper in the house or crayons. Now one of the other nurse said, maybe the superintendent of the building is playing tricks on us. He's messing with our minds. He's coming in here. So they tried to tape the bottom of the doorway and do a few other little security measures to see if anybody was there while they were on their shift. They came home, nothing was touched. The tape wasn't broken from the bottom of the door or nothing. They walk in the house, the doll's in a different location. That concerned them. But what really concerned them the most was when Lou was sleeping on his couch, and at the end of the couch was Annabelle. He wakes up from a nightmare with a start, and he's sweaty, and he's going like this, and Donna says, what's the matter, Lou? He says, I just had the worst nightmare. And she said, what? He said, I just had a nightmare that that doll was crawling up my leg, got to my neck and started to strangle me to death. And he's shaking his head. And then he takes the doll by the two arms and throws it across the room and says, that's just a Raggedy Ann doll, that can't hurt anybody. When he did that, 7 psychic wounds appeared on his chest and on his stomach. 4 on his chest, 3 on his stomach. Like somebody took a claw and ripped through his skin. You see the blood coming through. He's freaked out, Dundas freaked out, the roommates freaked out. They don't know what to do. But they knew one thing. It wasn't a 6-year-old girl who did that. They called the Episcopal priest in Hartford, Connecticut, Father Nolan. He said, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. You better call Ed Warren. He knows all about that supernatural stuff. That's how he put it. And Ed came over to the house after they contacted him with Lorraine, talked to the girls, just like you saw in the movie. And Ed did say, that doll doesn't belong here. I'm taking it back to my museum. And he did. But when he took it back then, he put it in a chair, like you saw in the movie. He put it in a chair, no case at the time. And he had a rope in front of it and said, do not touch. Well, the problem was a priest came here, back in the 70s, before it was in the case. And he knew Lorraine very well. And he said, Lorraine, can I come over and show you my new car? I just bought it last night. I'm very proud of it. She said, come on, Father, I'd like to see it. So the next day he came for lunch, Father Bill. And he shows them the new car, and then they sat down and had lunch. Lorraine gave him tea. And after that, he looks at Ed, the priest, and he says, hey, Ed, could I see that doll that I heard about put slashes on people? Ed says, yeah, come on down to the museum, I'll show you. Comes down to the museum, shows the priest around some of the objects, then he gets to the doll, which was in the chair, and he starts to talk about it. Then he gets to the point of Lou getting the slash marks on his chest and on his stomach, talking about the nightmare. The priest, almost like Lou did, grabbed the doll over the chair, grabbed the doll by the arms, threw it across the museum floor and said, God is more powerful than any devil or demon. And Ed didn't know what to do because he couldn't stop the guy in time. He said, Father, you shouldn't have never touched that doll because it's dangerous. Why'd you do that? I just got through telling you don't touch anything. And the priest was adamant. God is more powerful than any devil or demon. And Ed says, you know something, Father? You're right. God is more powerful than any devil or demon, but no human is. No priest is. No man. Shouldn't have touched it. Priest didn't want to know. Priest was like, I don't care. They go back upstairs. He says his goodbye to Lorraine. No problem, right? Well, he never made it back to the rectory. On the way back to his rectory on Interstate 84, he lost control of the car, went almost head-on into a tractor-trailer truck, and totaled the car, and he was injured. Now, he wasn't killed miraculously. That was a warning to the priest. About a week later, the priest calls up and says, he's crying on the phone to Ed. And Ed says, what's the matter, Father? How can I help you? And he says, I should have listened to you, Ed. I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have touched that doll. The last thing I could recall was looking in the rearview mirror of that car. I saw the image of the doll, and I lost control of my car. So, that was number one. Number two was a young man came on a motorcycle with his girlfriend, about 20 years old, with a group of other college kids who came. It had about 12 people here. This is years ago. And he's talking about the doll, Ed. And it was in a case at the time now. He got in a case. And Ed's talking about the doll, gets to the slash marks. What happened? The same thing happened as what happened with Lou and the priest. He gets to about the slash mark part. This young man, kind of cocky, goes over the rope that was right here, and he starts banging on the glass, and he says, if that doll could put slashes on anybody, do it to me right now. What did he do? He just challenged the unknown. He challenged the demonic realm, right? A bad thing to do. And he did it, nothing happened to him. Ed says, look, you and your girlfriend, get out of here. I can't have that in my museum. I got through just telling you not to touch anything, and you did, get out. So they left, but they were smirking about it when they left. Well, that young man on the motorcycle never made it home. In fact, that young man was killed 3 hours later. And we know what happened because the girl that was on the bike, she didn't die. She said she was in the hospital for almost a year. She said the last thing I could recall was we were laughing and joking around about the doll when my boyfriend lost control of the bike, went right into a tree head on and was killed instantly. Now, Was it the doll that did that? Was it the demonic that destroyed this guy's life? I can't say for sure. Could have been just an accident. But why would you challenge the demonic? Why would you challenge the unknown realm?
Now I'm interrupting the clip here for one quick second because one thing that I really enjoyed throughout this entire day was getting to listen to Tony, getting to listen to Judy, and hearing what they've accumulated in knowledge over the years, both in their personal experiences and also in what was taught to them from Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I was so excited because so many things that they were sharing and encouraging as far as, you know, dabbling into the paranormal and the paranormal realm and world coincided with all the things that I've been sharing with you guys. Protecting yourself with a white light, ensuring that you go into things with positive intention, that intention is everything. But most of all, he makes a comment about Ouija boards, which I really resonated with. I've always said that while many people utilize Ouija boards and have positive experiences, you just never know when something evil could be around. And while maybe, you know, 1,000 times or 100,000 times you play with a Ouija board, you have positive experiences, you don't get to decide when a demon wants to come. You don't get to decide what's around or what you're summoning. And you guys are about to hear Tony share with you guys that exact same mentality. And so I wanted to include that clip as well and kind of preface it with this. So I'll roll the clip.
Once you make that challenge, you know, you open the door. And once you open the door, it's not like your house door. You can't just close it. It can stay open. It's almost impossible to close the door once you open it to the unknown realm. And that's what we found out through all our years of investigation, that you don't open doors. Don't open them. Don't use a Ouija board. Don't go to a psychic. Don't challenge the demonic. Because later on, it doesn't have to come when you ask it. Remember, it's not your slave. It has the wisdom of the ages. And a demonic entity comes when it wants to come, not when you ask it to. It could come a month, a week, a year later.
And I'm interrupting just one more time here because I thought that this was a really beautiful tribute to Lorraine, and you guys are going to see more of a tribute to Ed and Lorraine Warren and their lives in the next video. But Tony goes on to just talk about Lorraine and how wonderful she was and how pure of a soul she was. And it was just so incredible for me as somebody who has looked up to Ed and Lorraine Warren for so long and appreciated all of their cases and all that they are, to hear how wonderful she was, because I really did feel that energy from her, but to hear it from someone who was as close as you could get to her, just really, really put joy in my heart. So I'm gonna roll that clip for you guys as well.
She was a special, special person. Probably more special than any other person I ever met in my life. And I'm not saying that because my mother-in-law, a lot of guys don't like their mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was a saint. And when I say that, I mean it. She was the best to everybody. She would always take the time to speak to people, no matter how tired she was. Ed, on the other hand, would be leaving a lecture. He'd be like, come on, let's get, come on, just hurry up. We got to go get something to eat, to Lorraine. And I'd be with Ed on his side. Yeah, let's go get a cheeseburger at the diner. And she'd stop in the middle of the aisle of a big auditorium and answer that question and wait until that person was totally satisfied. We'd be waiting in the car for 15 minutes. Ed'd be mad. I'd be, come on, Ed, I'm starving. She'd be out there talking, and she'd be just as tired as us. But she had that extra compassion that we didn't have. I mean, all we could think about that time was eating. We gave our lecture. We gave you all the information you want to know. Goodbye. Not her. She wanted to stay back and answer those concerns to everybody. And when she asked somebody, how are you, dear? She meant it. What happened? And she really wants to know. She really wanted to know what was in your mind and your heart. That's the kind of person she was. She'd answer the phone at 3 a.m. to somebody overseas or somebody in California and talk for an hour because they had a problem. Out of a dead sleep, she'd pick up the phone and talk to them. Wow. I wouldn't do that. I'd let it ring and let the answer machine get it. Not her. She'd pick it up and talk. I know that because that happened. I'd come over to the house sometimes in the morning and she's all tired. I said, what's the matter? Oh, I was up until about 3:30 talking to somebody.
Oh, that's nice. And
how many people do that for nothing, for free? For free, you know, it's not for money. It's because she has compassion.
So that's my experience at the Warren Occult Museum, getting to meet the Doll of Shadows, getting to learn all about different items in there. How crazy was that story about the satanic ritual statue? I had chills the entire time just listening to the battle between good and evil, and really getting to hear a story that I'd personally never heard before. So I really wanted to share that with you guys as well. As far as meeting Annabelle, the feeling that I got when looking at Annabelle, guys, I could see how she had tricked those girls into thinking that she was good initially. because I look at that doll and I think that she just looks so sweet and innocent, and you would never presume that a demon is living within that doll. The feeling in the museum was heavy and it was hot in there, and there just was this overall sense of so much energy. I'm definitely going to dive more into my personal experience in there in the next video. I wanted to break this into two because I really wanted to share all of this information with you guys and didn't want to make them too long. Overall, the entire experience was incredible. It was phenomenal, and I definitely felt all of the energy within the Warrens Occult Museum, and I definitely believe that there is so much being contained within those walls. I have more stories about the Warren Occult Museum that I'll share with you guys in my next video, but I want to encourage you guys once again to get your tickets and go and see Annabelle Comes Home in a theater near you. You will not regret it. Now that you guys know just how dark the doll behind it all is, you gotta get to know her more in the next film. Thank you so much, Warner Brothers, for sponsoring this video, for bringing me out to Connecticut, and for giving me the experience of a lifetime. I am humbled, I am appreciative, and I will never forget how incredible that whole entire day was. I'm so glad that I got to bring this experience here with you guys and share it with you all, so I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video, and like I said, there will be a part 2 to this. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button. Please give this video a big thumbs up. I think it's the coolest video I've ever put on my channel, and I'm so happy. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you guys.